So I was saying before the video cut out, sorry, that I want to help you by sharing this information in case it's the missing link, that there's an alternative reality out there in your life that is the missing link to why you have not been able to get to center or feel balanced, whole, or successful. So I started with some past lives, and I'm going to make another past life video this week. But I feel like right now, I'm going to go back to the beginning of my life. Because I remember speaking and working with the spirits from, my earliest memories. It wasn't like spoken about or anything because it was the only reality I knew. They were extremely kind. They were much more loving than the adults I knew. So I just always felt that I didn't want to be an adult because adults were very mean in comparison to the spirits. So, why did I have this experience? I'm going to give you a few possible explanations, starting with my astrology. So, my moon is conjunct Neptune, and it's in my life mission karmic house, meaning in my karmic astrology, moon and my Neptune are conjunct in my life mission. So maybe I was just supposed to be on a psychic journey. And at the same time, though, our house was haunted. Not by necessarily bad ones, although I will tell you the bad ones. Most of them were Native Americans just going about their lives. They were planting food in another dimension. They were talking. Some of them were like instructors, like I would even say masters, and they would teach me. But there were also just a lot of Native Americans that were like you and I, just going about their own lives in another dimension. I learned from that indigenous people rest on the red light ray, the slowest vibration on the earth. And I learned through that with that vibration, with them being on it, it means that they're keeping us alive. They feed this energy into the earth and vice versa. They are a part of Mother Earth. And I am greatly blessed to have them on the earth, whether they are physical and alive or in other dimensions. But again, they were very loving. Now, a third reason I could have had this experience is that I have this memory that I do not know if it's a real memory or not, but yet I've always remembered it. And I wish I could ask my mother, but I know I will not get an honest answer because she has hated this part of me, although she experienced the spirits on many, 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 many occasions. Her belief in her mind that it's like of the devil, and I promise you it's not, although there was some evilness, which I am going to share with you. So I have this memory of being in a walker, like before I could walk, the walkers. And I have this memory of a little thing of Pepto-Bismol being on there and me drinking it. I remember absolutely loving the taste of Pepto-Bismol. Are kids supposed to have Pepto-Bismol before they can walk? I have no idea, even though I work for the company who makes it. I have no idea. But I always wondered if I didn't have as a baby, a near-death experience that kept me more out of my body. So those are three potentials. Where will I go next? I guess I'll tell you one of the evilness. That's my cat sneezing. He doesn't like the desert. We got mold out here in the desert. Poor little guy. Okay. All the spirits were great until I was 9 years old. I woke up one night and the spirit of my aunt was standing next to the bed. Now, I barely knew this aunt. It was actually my uncle's wife. I think I'd only seen her 3 or 4 times in my life. They lived states away. I just didn't know her. But she also, I know now, she was in her 40s and healthy. There was nothing wrong with her. But I woke up to her being by my bed. And that was the first time I looked at a spirit and was scared crapless. I mean, really scared. So I run into my brother's room, jump into bed with him, and she comes in. And I guess me getting in the bed woke my brother up, and I'm under the covers. And, I guess I can say her name. So I kept telling my brother, Betty's dead. So that scared my brother because he also had had experiences with the spirits. I now know that for a fact. My brothers are being honest, or open, I should say. They never lied about it. They just didn't want to talk about it until after my father died last year. So, anyways, I am scared to death of the evilness of my aunt. Although I'd never felt any evilness in any of the spirits in the house before, or any of the Native Americans. The long short of it is she would not leave until I kind of showed off for her, so to speak. I won't go in details, but she wanted me to do something to show her that I'm so talented. And it wasn't until I got the courage to jump out of that bed, run to the other side of the house, and do this little twirling act that she left. And, so the next morning around 10 a.m., well, I told my grandfather, I called him, and at first he said, no, she's alive, everything's fine, but it wasn't the case. So the night before, she had fallen down a flight of steps. She was going up, and she slipped in her slippers, fell backwards, and hit her head, and it was immediate death. And, well, it took many decades for me to get the truth out of the family. Maybe you guys are part of one of those families where they don't, everything's good, right? They won't admit certain things because the way it looks. So it took a long time to find out that my aunt was extremely abusive to my cousin, her son. She didn't want children, and so she hid him. Things like she hid him in a closet to have friends over so they wouldn't know. She just was. It took a long time for me to come to understand the reason she came to me is, one, she knew I could see her. Her son could not. Her son's a lot older than me, by like 20 years almost. And his abuse and then later drug use had gotten him into a state he would not have been able to see her. But what she needed for her soul was to get some type of apology out to a child to put peace into her soul. Until next time, namaste.